Spike Lee's films have been both praised and criticized as important cultural and historical documents. He first charmed audiences with his 1986 debut, She's Gotta Have It. He offered a frank depiction of urban racism with Do the Right Thing. And he made an interesting portrait of the controversial black nationalist leader Malcolm X. Clockers, his eighth film, is an adaptation of the Richard Price novel about life in the inner city. It follows a young drug dealer pursued for murder by veteran homicide detective, and I'm very pleased to have back here at this desk filmmaker, Knicks fan, Spike Lee. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Charles.
Great to have you here.
All right.
Now, tell me how this began for you, because the early news was that Scorsese was going to make Clockers based on a screenplay by Richard Price.
Right. That's the way it happened. Universal Pictures had paid a lot of money to Richard Price for him to write the screenplay from his novel, for Martin Scorsese to direct, and Robert De Niro to play Rocco Klein, the homicide detective you talked about.
Later played by, in your film, by Harvey Keitel.
Yeah, Harvey Keitel. And somewhere in the process, Marty changed his mind.
Because he had Casino to do.
Well, he decided he wanted to do Casino with Nicholas Pileggi, who they co-wrote Goodfellas, so they took De Niro from Clockers, and they got Joe Pesci and Sharon Stone, and went to Las Vegas, to make that film. And Universal, I said before, had a lot of money invested in the project. So, round up the usual suspects, and no, I'm just kidding. They asked me to, to consider directing it.
Yeah. Did you jump at it?
No. I did not jump at it because I thought there was a great chance this could be lumped into that black genre film, the gangster, shoot 'em up, drug, rap, movie.
Made by both black and white filmmakers.
They're mostly made by, no, you're right, yeah, black and white filmmakers.
Yeah. Then you didn't want to do that.
No, I think that that genre is really on his last breath, last gasp, I might say, but then in thinking about it some more, I felt there were some things, some new wrinkles, twists we could put in it. And if we were successful, maybe this could be the final nail in the coffin.
Okay. Here's what's interesting about you. Take Jungle Fever. Most people thought that was a film about an interracial relationship. For you, that film was in part, and a large part, about how drugs can destroy a family.
Exactly.
Exactly?
Mm-hmm.
And interracial relationship and the characters you had, a love story drew them into the theater, but you also were able to probe the notion of crack, and you had Samuel Jackson in a brilliant performance.
Yes, as Gator. You're right, For me, the most important thing about that film was not whether black and white people could intermarry, which I have no problem with. It was the destruction of crack on this particular family and use that family is a microcosm, as family as a whole in this country, black and white.
The reason I asked the question, so what is it you want to show in this film? Because you didn't want to do another genre film about sort of urban violence, senseless urban violence. You want to do something else, and you saw the possibility of that in this
Well, what we thought
book.
we could do, we felt that we could do a film where there's some hope, some optimism, at the end of it. So often today, it's just felt that people are locked in, that young black males are going to die before the age 22, and they're going to spend the rest of their lives in prison or sell drugs or wherever. And so we felt that this is a film that could to show, something different.
What is it different to show?
Well, what's different, Charlie, is that the way we approach this film. I think that if when you see it, you see that we have a definite stance on violence, on guns. We don't glorify that in this film. The opening credit sequence is a montage of grisly, gruesome crime scene photos.
Would you get them from the NYPD or somewhere?
No, I spent a lot of time with the crime scene unit here in New York City, and they had this pack of photos they call the family album. And it's some of the most gruesome photos I've ever seen, and it's amazing what bullets can do to the human body. And we tried to recreate those at the beginning of the film. We had actors pose as dead people were doing, bullet holes and all kinds of stuff. We just wanted to, and also we wanted to show that in the projects, not everybody there is selling crack or welfare mothers throwing their infants out the windows and that type of stuff. The majority of the people there are hard working, are trying, you know, to make ends, are decent people, and, you know, trying to find a better way of life.
What you have here is two fascinating characters, which ought to make a good movie, and certainly a good book. There were more characters in the book than you have time here to do in a film.
Yes, I mean, Rich's novel is 600 plus pages.
And you got an hour and...
We have 2 hours, and even in I mean, the drafts that Richard did for Scorsese, he had to cut it down.
Tell me about the two characters and what makes them interesting and the competition between them.
Well, the two characters are Rocco, played by Harvey Keitel, and Strike, played by a newcomer, Mekhi Phifer. And what's interesting is that not just them, but the clockers and the cops, even though they're separate, they're really interdependent.
Their life sort of revolves around each other in a way.
In a way. And
the clocker is the crack dealer.
A clocker is a low-rung drug dealer.
Who works around the clock.
Who works around the clock, 24/7, 365. And
24/7, 365.
These Strike is very smart.
Yeah.
He's a young black man, and has an ulcer, spits up blood the whole film, and his brother is upright, 2 children, 2 jobs, married, and a murder's committed.
A rival drug dealer.
By a rival drug dealer, and Rocco, Victor, the upright brother, confesses, and Rocco just cannot believe that this church-going model citizen would commit a murder, and he wants to pen the murder on Strike, his younger brother.
All right, roll tape. This is I Play You. If you'll see these two characters together. Here it is. Where'd you find him?
Mekhi walked in off the street. Every film we shoot here in New York, it's our policy to have open call. So if you're breathing, and you can put 2 words together, and you have a picture, we'll give you a shot. And Mekhi
do I need an agent for this, or I can just walk right in there?
Walking off the street, and Mekhi was one of 1,000 people who came to this open call, this open casting call, and he was brought to my attention.
And how many do you watch yourself?
I don't go to those.
They don't narrow them down to 5, and then you take a look at those 5?
Yeah, then they bring them into me,
Right.
And I brought him back 10 times after that to make sure, because...
To make sure what?
That he could do the role.
That he could carry it.
He could carry it, because he had never acted before. He never been on the movie set, never acted before, never been in front of a camera. But he had that quality, and he's going to be a star.
What quality did he have?
He's photogenic.
Yeah, but I mean...
Camera loves his face, and he has this quality. It's really hard for me to describe, but I knew it when I saw it, and I brought him back 10 times to make sure, because I didn't want to mess up. It would have been my neck. But the last 3 times I brought him back, he read with Harvey. And one of the scenes we read was this thing right here, because I had to make sure that he would not get intimidated by Harvey, by Delroy Lindo, by John Turturro. You had to stand with these seasoned actors, great actors, toe-to-toe.
And create credibility on the air.
Exactly.
Scorsese served as producer of this film.
Yes.
And what was his role, though? Was he over...
Well, Scorsese's role in this was spiritual guru. He took an interest in me a long time ago, even before she's going to have it.
He's a fella NYU guy, too, isn't he?
Right. So he's been a mentor to me. But he was in Las Vegas shooting, trying to deal with Sharon Stone, making his own film.
How'd you like that challenge?
I like the movie very much.
Casino?
Yeah.
You've seen it?
Yes.
Seen the rough cut, or seen the whole thing? Is it out now? So, I mean, not out in terms of theaters, but you've seen
a rough cut.
A rough cut, and you like it?
Very much.
And she's pretty good?
I like the film very much. No, Sharon Stone's good. Sharon Stone's
How about De Niro?
Great. Joe Pesci, great.
Now, you were glad when De Niro left this, not because you didn't want to work with him, but because it would have been his film.
Well, I think that when you work with a star of the magnitude of Robert De Niro, not just, Mel Gibson or any of those guys,
Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington. You know, it's hard for them not to be in every scene. The scripts that Richard Price wrote for Scorsese, that was really, you know, a star vehicle for Robert De Niro. And me personally, I just felt more passionate about telling the story of Strike. And really, in doing that, that's really putting it in line with the way the novel was written. In the novel, the chapters alternate between Strike and Rocco.
So Price likes the movie? Richard Price,
yeah.
The author of the book? Because this is really your movie rather than an adaptation of his book. You've taken poetic license in the emphasis here. I mean, some say that the Turturro character is not nearly as large as it was in the book.
That's, you know, his scenes were shot, and unfortunately, you know, we had to cut some of them out. Sometimes even good scenes have to go if it's not moving the story forward. I would have liked to have John, you know, in the film more, and he's told me this too.
What did he say, Mr. Lee? I'm really sorry that most of my good scenes ended up on your editing room floor. He's been a part of my films, so, you know, he's felt we're cool. Yeah. But he would have loved to have seen some of that brilliant performance he gave you in the film.
Yes, he would have.
How about Keitel? How was he to work with?
He was good. I mean, you know, Harvey coming off piano and Reservoir Dogs and Bad Lieutenant and Pulp Fiction. Yeah.
Were you influenced?
Smoke in the Face, Blue.
I mean, I just saw a movie called Usual Suspects.
Yes,
and it clearly seems to... Did you like it?
Yes.
I did too. I thought it was well done. And the acting's terrific, Gabriel Byrne and others. It seemed to have, though, a touch of Tarantino.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of films out there that are...
Derivative, almost.
Derivative of that, and I think that happens anytime something fresh, new, comes on the scene, and people really hadn't seen work like Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction before. But, you know, that too will run its course.
Did it happen in Clockers? Will we see some of that sort of feeling,
you know,
dialogue?
I only predict outcome of Knicks basketball games, not movies.
I want to talk about the Knicks in a moment. Take a look at this. This is another clip from Clockers, based on the novel by Richard Price, directed by Spike Lee. Here it is. What do you think of that scene?
I think it works. Yeah. I think that what I like about that scene is that Strike and his upbringing, you know, even though he's been raised right and he would not hit a woman, so that was very important for us. Even though he was being smacked around, he's not going to hit a woman.
He'll sell drugs, but he won't hit a woman.
Well, I'm not trying to say this guy's a choir boy either, but I mean, I think that he has some sense of, you know, respect.
What are you saying at the end of Clockers?
For me, the film is optimistic and hopeful. I think that Strike and people like him, you know, have hope, and I'm not just gonna wring my hands and say that, you know, generation upon generation of black males are doomed to prison or death. You know, and I don't believe that.
You have optimism about inner city America. You have to because the alternative is too bleak.
Well,
too damaging to America. Too damaging to
not that really, Charlie. Because I try to draw, you know, upon history, and when I look at, I mean, if any African Americans, if any of us here in this country just thought about the hardships our ancestors went through as slaves building this country, you know, this is a cakewalk, and they had to be optimistic, or we wouldn't be here today. I think many, I mean, they had to say that I'm going to die as a slave, but maybe my grandchildren one day will be free and won't be considered 3/5 of a human being, which is written in the Constitution of the United States of America. And so that's where I draw my optimism from.
You have survived tougher times.
A lot tougher. I mean, you know, back then, you know, if we were caught reading or writing, you know, you get killed for that.
But you have expressed and have dealt with themes having to do with African Americans.
Yes.
In all of your movies.
Yes.
What is it you want? What does the body of work that Spike Lee has done say?
Well, I think that what I've tried to do with my films, Charlie, is just try to show the diversity that African Americans make up of. I think a mistake a lot of white Americans make is to think that black people just one monolithic group, that we all listen to rap music, we all wear our hats backward, and we all dunk a basketball the minute we get out of a crib. And it's just not true. We're just as diverse as anybody else. And you asked that, you know, that's a good point. You started upon, you say, all my films have been about the African American experience. And for me, I don't find that a problem because, you know, and I try to be a scholar of cinema, and I've never, in my research or reading ever read of Kurosawa ever being questioned why are all his films about Japanese culture. Nobody's ever questioned Fellini, you know, when he was alive. Why are all your films about Italian? Nobody's ever questioned Bergman.
Okay,
you know, but this always comes up. Spike, why are all your films about African Americans?
No, that's not what I said.
I'm just saying, though.
No, what I said was, what are you wanting to say? The body of your work say about the African American experience.
But you touched upon that, though. I'm not saying you said that, but that I just wanted to say that because that comes up again and again and again and again.
And so if I had asked the question, Spike, why all these films about African Americans? Can't you go make a movie about white people? You would say
it's amazing when I get that.
You would say, they don't say to Fellini, why don't you make a movie about Germans when he was alive? Or they didn't say to Kurosawa, why don't you make a film about Chinese?
I don't know if I would say it that way. But I just, what's happening though, Charlie, is that in the entertainment industry, the word black is like considered a stigma. It's not considered universal, so you have to have crossover appeal and appeal to everybody. And I've just never felt that I had to run from that word or from what I am, you know, or you know, my culture. And I still think that people will you know.
But let me make this point. I mean, it would seem to me, probably, some white man probably, hired you to make clockers, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just because they believed not in having anything to do with the color of skin, but they had something to do with, they thought you could tell this story and bring more people in the theater than any other director that they might have gone to at that moment.
I mean, that's a valid point, though, but we could also talk about Malcolm X, where I was forced to ask Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson,
to dip in money
the
so
artists,
when you went over budget.
Right. You know, so, I mean...
whereas if it had been most other producers dealing with a big theme like that, they would have come up with the money themselves and you wouldn't have had to go. What does that mean?
Give the money out.
They would have given the money without question.
I think so.
And you believe that you have not won Academy Awards or have received nominations because...
I think that a lot has to do... I mean, Charlie, I just don't understand why people in this country still deny that race has a lot to do with things, the way things are done. I mean, I don't think there's coincidence that the year Do the Right Thing came out. What was Best Picture that year?
I don't know.
Driving Miss Daisy. That won Best Picture. And look at and compare the black character that Morgan Freeman plays in that movie with the black characters like Ray Rahim or Bugging Out, or I mean, generally that shows you, I mean, the politics of where even the headset of the Academy members. I mean, even Malcolm X. I mean,
even Malcolm
I say
X.
this all the time. You know, in all deference, Al Pacino, he did not give a better performance than Denzel.
Washington. Certainly not for the last hour and a half of that film.
I mean, Pacino's great, but we should be talking about Serpico.
Yeah.
You know, Dog Day Afternoon, Godfathers 1 and 2. You know, so. Another, I know there are people out there in the audience saying, you know, Those black people always crying about anytime they can't get anything, it's because you're black, because you're black, because you're black. I don't say it all the time. And I try not to use that as a crutch and try to bring this back to clock. This is what I'm here on the show for. I think that
you're here because you just wanted to come and have a conversation about movies with me.
That's true, too.
Because we got to get to the next soon.
But let me know one thing. If you look at Do the Right Thing and Malcolm X,
right.
In those two films, you can see where the finger is pointing to white America. But if you look at Clockers, this film, the finger is pointing back on African Americans. Like, it's time to buckle up and let's, we can't expect Newt Baby to, to do anything.
Well, Newt Baby's trying to save Washington with
DC. That's another 10 shows.
That sure is. All right, one more clip. How about it? Clockers give you a sense of, and then one last question about this when we come back. Here's another clip from Clockers. This one's self-defense. Take a look. A great performance by Keitel as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always.
He brings something.
He brings it.
He really does. I mean, there's that energy, and you don't know when he's going to explode. And it's that, the O.J. Simpson trial. Race is an element.
Always been an element, even though people try to deny it and push it to the side.
Think the defense is playing to that, playing the race card?
I think everybody's playing it.
Prosecution?
Yes, they played it.
Yeah, but defense.
Hey, when you have a guy that says he hasn't said the word nigger in 10 years, and then you get this transcript, and during the transcript, he gives detailed account of how him and his cronies have planted evidence.
It means he lied on the stand.
But he's also giving accounts of how he's planted evidence in other cases, too.
Yeah. He was not asked. I mean, do you think O.J. Simpson is innocent or guilty?
I really haven't made up my mind yet, and I haven't followed the case.
Come on.
I mean, not day to day.
It doesn't take this long. You know in your gut.
I don't know.
You know in your
I'm
gut
on the fence. Like this thing going down the middle of the table, I'm right here, Charlie.
Are you really? Come on. Do you find yourself going over here when you pay attention, then coming back over here?
Well, I've been back and forth. I'm not going to say I've been on the fence the whole time, but it's intriguing, and do we ever know that the truth will ever come out? We don't know that.
Do you think your opinion on the Simpson case is influenced by your experiences as a black man?
Yes.
And
you could look any poll. Why is it that all the black people polled think O.J.'s innocent, and all the white Americans feel O.J.'s guilty?
Why is it?
Because it's just been an experience. The cops have been known to frame people, and I think that for me, this whole Mark Fuhrman thing, I don't think there were any black people surprised when this thing happened. Mark Fuhrman, white Americans, like, how could this happen?
They don't do that, do they?
How could this happen? I just don't believe it.
Yeah, and too many African Americans said, I've seen that. I know 100 times.
They know what the deal is.
Yeah.
They were laughing at the screen when he said he hadn't said the word nigger in 10 years. We took the fifth, too, right?
He did. Took the fifth 4 times. And he said, if you ask me any other questions, I'll take the fifth, including, but once, as you know, once you take the fifth for one question, you have to take it for all the questions. You can't selectively use the fifth. So whatever question they ask, he would have taken the fifth after that, because that's the way the law works. Let me move to the Knicks. Pat Riley, Miami Heat. Are you happy or are you sad that he's no longer the head coach of your beloved Knickerbockers?
Well, I've had a chance, Charlie, to talk to a lot of players since this nasty upheaval has happened, and I don't think the players are sad that Pat Riley is no longer with the New York Knickerbockers.
You think what? Spike Lee fan thinks the players aren't sad. Is Spike Lee saying to Pat Riley, I sat there in the front seat and good riddance because in the end it was too much Pat, not enough player?
Well,
That your
I do think that he feels he's more important than the players, and I don't think that a coach, any coach, can feel that.
Why are you holding back on this? This is not what you feel. You were happy to see Riley leave. You don't think he was good for the team.
No,
'cause
I
you
never
talked to the
said
players.
that.
You talked to the players, and there was dissension on that team.
I said they're
and
happy
you know
to see
there
him
was
leave
dissension
now.
on that team,
I said
and
they're happy to see him leave now. He was great, but I mean, he burns them. People get tired of him. 4 years, 5 years, you know. But now he's going to be in Miami forever. And you know those
running
players,
the whole thing too now. President of the Heat.
God of the Miami Heat. And in a lot of ways, he wants to be God. So,
but you'll be back on the front row watching.
yeah, for $1,000.
Watching Nellie's Knicks.
Yeah, you know they raised the prices. You know.
Is that right? How much did your season ticket cost you?
Well, last year was $500 per game. Now it's $1,000.
So as soon as Viacom bought the Knicks,
Yeah, they paid too much.
then they sold them to ITT and Cablevision, I guess it is.
So it's $2,000 a game.
Yeah, but what do you care?
This movie better be a hit.
What do you care? You know,
That's a lot of money, Charlie.
you got a lot of money.
Hey, 2,000 bananas for basketball a game. 41 games, and they raise it. Who knows what the price is going to be for the playoffs?
They better win, huh?
Better.
Great to see you. Good luck
Thank
on
you.
Clockers.
Okay.
Spike Lee. We'll be right back. Stay with us.